Welcome to the Fourth Branch program. Glad you can make it. I am MD. This program is dedicated exclusively for those with common sense, a spirit of patriotism, and a determination for a more perfect union. Stay tuned as we begin the discussion of a very important, interesting, and enlightening topic. Hope to hear from you soon. Happy listening. Ignorance is the biggest threat to any democracy. John F. Kennedy said, "The ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security of us all." Hello everyone, I am MD and this is the Fourth Branch program. First, a warning. This program is not suitable for all audiences. I repeat, the content of this program is not for everyone. To find out if it's suitable to you, answer the following two questions. 1. Would you entrust your teenage daughter to a known rapist? Question number 2. Would you have a known pedophile cared for your toddler? Once again, question 1, would you entrust your teenage daughter to a known rapist? And question 2, would you have a known pedophile cared for your toddler? Time is up. If you had difficulty answering either question, this program is not for you. If you answer yes to either or to both questions, this program is definitely not for you. But if both of your answers are absolutely not, this program is catered to you. You should stick around. It is enlightening, educational, and formative, and you will undoubtedly enjoy every second of it. Join me here on the Fourth Branch at 10:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. every Saturday. What happens when half of a nation goes nuts? Dwight Eisenhower said that a people that values its privileges above its principles soon loses both. We as a country are at that exact moment in time. It is uncertain if there is a way or even the time to reverse the trend. Only recently, 3 years ago to be exact, everyone in the nation agreed Donald Trump represented a sideshow in the presidential elections. There was no way in the world we, the American people, would ever pick a nutcase to be the leader of the nation, God forbid, the world. A year later, however, in 2016, those who are still sound-minded learn in the most painful way that half the nation has already been nuts. What was missing was the clown master to get the circus on the road. A circus it has been. 3 years later, today, the sound-minded individuals who still roam the streets in the nation have come to accept there may not be much hope for this country until a real leader, a true patriot, emerges and does good by the nation. 3 days ago, while the nation was reeling in panic at the news that packages containing explosive material were being mailed across the country to prominent figures in the Democratic Party, most clowns in the Republican Party, the likes of Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Laura Ingraham, Tucker Carlson, Bill O'Reilly, Rush Limbaugh, you get the gist, were busy advancing conspiracy theories. It's all a hoax, they said. The Democratic Party is behind it, despite the fact that all evidence pointed to the possibility the individual is most likely a Trump supporter. Yes, while a serious and dangerous terrorist act such as this could have cost the lives of many, the Republican pundit with a microphone couldn't help themselves. It was the making of the Democrat, they said. I must admit I had to take a deep breath. A real deep breath. Have you ever felt that sometimes your head is about to explode or the space around you is shrinking? Well, it would be easy to understand how some sound-minded individual in the United States must feel at this time amid this cacophony of idiocy, stupidity, and lunacy nurtured in the Republican Party at this point. My mom used to say that clowns have no use but for the entertaining of the kids who laugh at their stupidity. Indeed, today, millions of people watch Fox, listen to those clowns who can only make sense in a fictional world, and yet it is happening in a real world. They rely on the naiveness, the gullibility, and yes, the ignorance of their audiences to preserve their wealth, to keep a job, and to work for organizations which would burn the country down if it means to increase their revenues to make a profit. Country be damned. George Washington warned us to guard against the impostures of pretending patriotism. Yes, those are the same individuals who claim to be patriots, who try to shame those who protest against government wrongdoing. Yes, those are the very individuals George Washington warned us against. We should now understand why Washington said it is far better to be alone than to be in bad company. How does someone with a strength of intelligence go along with nuts cases such as those? We now know it's impossible to rid society of all bad elements. It has never been done. Psychologists, psychiatrists have been trying for as long as 4th century before Christ to solve the mystery of the minds. They are no closer today. So it is no hope to pretend a hero in a cape would come to save America and pull it from the bottom of the pit it has fallen. The most we can hope for is for sound-minded individuals to preserve their sanity in a world of nuts. Most sound-minded individuals have tiptoed around the craziness in the nation. It is time we call the devil by its name. It is time we confront the devil. In 1996, a small network by the name of Fox News was launched with just 17 million viewers. Today, with over 100 million people watching regularly, Fox has become the greatest threat to our democracy, constantly bombarding the airwaves with false information, distortion of facts, and outright lies, presenting to its audience as news. Fox has created an army of blissful ignorance. According to a recent survey, 82% of Fox viewers are ignorant of facts and the truth. To keep millions of people in ignorance not only prevents democracy from flourishing, but it also clears the path to authoritarianism, to dictatorship. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity." Let me finish by saying that democracy cannot survive in an environment where truth and facts do not matter. At Fox, truth and facts do not matter. Indeed, democracy in America is in jeopardy. It is a crisis the country can no longer ignore. Ignorance is the biggest threat to our democracy. However, the greatest threat is the fact that the ignorant are ignorant of their own ignorance. The revered leader lies to everyone about everything. Their admired spokesmen and spokeswomen speak deliberately to misguide them, to misinform them, to mislead them. How does one get out of ignorance when he is subscribed to listen to other ignorant? It's much like a blind leading a blind, says the Bible. We know it is so. According to a survey conducted a few months ago, more than 82% of those who are faithful viewers of Fox are ignorant of facts and the truth. When half the nation goes nuts, it is time for the sound-minded individual to redouble their effort, for the country is not divided between Democrats and Republicans. No, it is not. It is divided between those who seek knowledge and those who choose to stay and live in ignorance. The country is divided between those who seek the truth and wisdom and those who promote and enjoy falsehoods. Those who make use of their brains and those who have outsourced theirs. The United States of America is in dire need of a leader who knows the way, shows the way, and indeed is willing to go all the way. Join me here on the Fourth Branch at 10:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. every Saturday. Join me here on the Fourth Branch at 10:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. every Saturday.
I'm telling you, Michael Jordan himself was right here in my McDonald's. I fixed him the very first McJordan special.
Right, Bill.
I did. I took a quarter pound of pure beef, smoked bacon, cheese, and some of my favorite barbecue sauce, and I named it the McJordan Special.
Bill, the sandwich, definitely great.
Yeah, but you got the cooling with that story.
But it's true.
How you doing, Bill?
Hi, Michael. Michael.
The McJordan Special for a limited time.
Go. I'm not going to try to get into the mind of Donald Trump because I don't think there's a whole lot of space there. I think he's a kook. I think he's crazy. I think he's unfit for office. And I'm a Republican and he's not. He's not a conservative Republican. He's an opportunist. He could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and 25 or 30% of the people would still follow him because he gives voice to their anger and their frustration. But he's not fit to be President of the United States.
There was a time, as you just seen in that last video, in which Lindsey Graham was provided an interview to CNN. There was some decency, some level of decency in the country. And we also remember very clearly a few years ago when John McCain, that's 2008, 2009, when John McCain ran against Barack Obama. As a politician, everyone aspired to become the top of the nation, to sit in the Oval Office. So did John McCain. But there was something much more important than just sitting in the Oval Office. It's to preserve the decency, to preserve the integrity of the Oval Office. And John McCain, in the campaign trail, aspiring to become the next president of the United States, lived up for a much nobler cause, to be a patriot first. In the midst of the campaign, when things were very heated, he was behind in the poll, and yet John McCain had the decency to shut down the stupidity, the idiocy in the Republican Party when someone, a supporter of his, tried to smear Barack Obama. John McCain took the microphone from her, and corrected her on national TV and said, no, yes, I would like to become the next president of the United States, but there is no reason for me to have to smear somebody else for that purpose. Yes, we can have our differences, he continued, but Obama is a good man. Today, we are living in the world of crazy, the nuts case I call it, in which the leader of the nation, the president of the United States, is the clown master. He is the one leading the nation, and all the clowns behind him, and nobody seems to have the decency. Not a single individual in the Republican Party seems to have the decency to stand up and say, no, this is not the United States of America. Instead, they all rally around him. In the media, there is not a single individual. That reminds me of the case when there was a conversation between God and one of his disciple, and asking, what if you can find 10 people in the nation that are worthy of the cause? And it seems today in the Republican Party, there is not a single individual worthy of the cause, because every single individual, those who call themselves Christian, those who call themselves conservative, every single individual seems to be doing everything possible just for their own selfish agenda. Nobody seems to have the country at heart. Those who call themselves patriots, those who call themselves Christians, not a single one of them. Instead, they all rally behind the clown master. Yes, Donald Trump is the clown master in the nation. He has been making a mockery of the United States, not just here in the mainland, across the world. The United States is now known as a clown. Would there be an individual? Would there be a leader? Would there be someone in the Republican Party who would find it necessary, who would find it important enough, who would find it his patriotic duty to stand up and say, enough is enough. We cannot be going down this path. A few days ago, one of his disciples decided to send around explosive material to individuals, to prominent figures in the Democratic Party. Now, we must admit that none of those individuals was ever in danger at any point in time. The material would have never reached Barack Obama. The explosive material, would have never reached Joe Biden or Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and so on. But the people handling the explosive, the people transporting the explosive were in danger at all time should any of those explosives were to go off. And yet, in the Republican circle, you have nutcases like Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Tucker Carlson, Bill O'Reilly. All of them went on the air and calling it a hoax. We have fallen so deep into the bottom pit that one has to ask the question, is there any hope for the United States? Yes, I heard a lot of people expressing optimism, stating the fact that the United States has gone down a dark path before. Has it? Everybody is defending their pocketbook. Yes, we know that because most of those people who are making those cases, they're not making it because they are stupid. They're not making it because they are lunatics. They are making it because it helps them to keep their job. It helps them to make money, unfortunately, to the detriment of the masses. Yes, they know they are pushing conspiracies which are outright stupid, which are outright ridiculous. They know that. They were aware of that, but they cannot help it because that's how they make their money. Be them, the country be them. They will continue to push those conspiracy theories because they have an audience for it. And what is much worse is the fact that those organizations which employ them continue to support those ideas because it brings money, it increases revenues, it makes profit. Yes, none of those people can claim patriotism because that's not what's important to them. Today, we have a Republican Party which, by any analysis, couldn't care less about the country, couldn't care less about patriotism. Pick anyone in the Republican Party, be it a Republican legislator, be it a Republican leader, a pundit, a news anchor. Pick anyone. Everything that they do is for their own selfish agenda. They do not care about the United States of America because obviously if they did, we would not be in the predicament we're in today. Donald Trump has been in the Oval Office for 2 years. As of date, the Republican Party has been in control of both houses since 2010. During the Obama administration, they have conducted tons of investigation. As of date, they have conducted zero investigation against the Trump administration. Zero. Zilch. Nothing. And yet we know that the Trump administration has been embroiled in scandals after scandal after scandal. Yes, the Republican legislature in Washington have relinquished their duty to serve the country for their own selfish agenda. We are living in a nutcase environment at this point. No, they cannot point fingers to the Democrats. They have been in control of the legislative branch for 8 years now. And yet they have accomplished nothing that the majority of the people in the country wants. They passed a tax cut for the wealthy and the large corporation, opposed by 60% of the people in the country. They have put in the Supreme Court a judge opposed by more than 70% of the people in the country. Yes, the Republican Party has not been doing the work of the people. Instead, they have been supporting a clown master in the Oval Office. We are in a predicament today that we have never seen before. There is no way to explain it, and there is no sign or no hope in sight. Yes, there are plenty of people who express optimism because, as it has been in the past, we have been in dark eras. But have we ever been in the predicament we are in today? The answer is absolutely not. The framers of the Constitution knew that there would be time, that there would be a rogue agent in the Oval Office, a rogue president in the Oval Office, someone who is not competent enough to run the country, someone who is incapable of running the country. They structure our government, the system of government, with 3 equal branches. They never envision a legislative branch which would relinquish its duty and not uphold the Constitution of the United States. They never imagined that 435 members of the legislative branch would relinquish its duty and not protect the country. They never envisioned that there would be 435 members which would not be patriotic. They could not envision that. Today, the country is living in a situation where it is a nutcase scenario. The individual sitting in the Oval Office is a clown master. Those who own, who control the legislative branch are just clowns who are much too glad to dance to the beat of the clown master. Yes, the country is divided, not between Democrats and Republicans, but between those who seek knowledge and wisdom and those who choose to stay and live in ignorance. It is not a time for partisanship. It is a time to recognize that the future of the country is at stake. Not at stake because Republicans are in control, but at stake because Republicans are not doing the job for which they were elected. The country is in a dire state, not because the Republicans are in control of both houses, but because the Republicans are not doing the job for which they were elected. So it is time for we, the American people, to take control of the situation. There is an election coming up. And it is not time to vote a party, but to vote to save the United States of America. Yes, it is in a dire state. For all the sound-minded individuals, for all the patriots in the United States of America, it is imperative, it is necessary, it is urgent, it is critical to vote those legislators who have relinquish their duty to uphold the Constitution of the United States. It is our duty to vote them out of office. It is no longer a party issue. It is no longer a Democrat and Republican issue. The fate of the country is at stake. The fate of future generations is at stake. While it may serve one's well to vote for your own party, but the future generations, your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, and beyond, will hold you responsible for their predicament. One doesn't have to be a genius to figure out that the country is in the predicament it is, not just because of the President of the United States, not just because of Donald Trump. Yes, he has exacerbated this situation, but he is not wholly and solely responsible for the predicament we're in. The United States is in a dire state because the legislative branch, controlled fully and solely by the Republican Party, has refused for 8 years to do the duty for which they were elected. The United States is in a dire state because the Republican members of the legislative branch have decided for 8 years to do not the affairs, to attend not to the affairs of the people, but to their selfish agenda. We have seen it in action for 8 years. We have seen how often they have taken the sides opposite to what the majority of the people want. We have seen it in action. Just recently, members of the Republican Party voted into the Supreme Court a justice, which is opposed by 62% of the people in the country. We have just recently, on February 2017, witnessed the Republican Party solely, single-handedly voted for a $1.5 trillion tax cut for large corporations and wealthy individuals, despite the overwhelming opposition by a majority in the country. Yes, we have been witness of that type of action by the Republicans. So no, it's not because it's not a campaign against a Republican. It's a campaign against those who have refused to do the job for which they were elected. And the Republican Party had made a case against their own re-election. Just a few weeks ago, Mitch McConnell, in an interview according to Bloomberg, said that if Republicans keep the House, they are going once again to try to kill Obamacare. More than 20 million people are covered by the Healthcare Act, aka Obamacare. And Mitch McConnell said that if they keep the House, the first thing that they're going to do is to kick those people out of their coverage. Yes, we know. They said it themselves. They acted on those things. Their agenda is not for the American people. So once again, I urge all sound-minded American, Democrat and Republican, to make certain the country gets back on the path of greatness. No, it's not when you vote your party, because it is obvious today, after 8 years, the Republicans have made a case against their own re-election. It is time to take over the running of the country. It is time to kick those who did not fulfill their duty towards the people who elected them, to kick them out of office. No, it's not a Republican or a Democrat issue. It is an issue for the United States of America. It is an issue for the future generation. It is an important issue, and it cannot be left to the Republican Party anymore. They have proven themselves to be unable, unwilling to do the job for which they were elected. In 1996, a small network by the name of Fox News was launched with just 17 million viewers. Today, with over 100 million people watching regularly, Fox has become the greatest threat to our democracy, constantly bombarding the airwaves with false information, distortion of facts, and outright lies, presenting to its audience as news. Fox has created an army of blissful ignorance. According to a recent survey, 82% of Fox viewers are ignorant of facts and the truth. To keep millions of people in ignorance not only prevents democracy from flourishing, but it also clears the path to authoritarianism, to dictatorship. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity." Let me finish by saying that democracy cannot survive in an environment where truth and facts do not matter. At Fox, truth and facts do not matter. Indeed, democracy in America is in jeopardy. It is a crisis the country can no longer ignore. I thank you for taking the time and spending it with us. If you need to find about past presentation, you will find them on the People Branch YouTube channel, which will be provided to you shortly. All presentation about past topics and all future topic will be archived on the People Branch YouTube channel. In the meantime, we would like to hear from you and let us know if there is any topic in particular that you would like to hear from us, and we will research it and debated here on the People Branch program. It is also a perfect time to remind you that the People Branch program is dedicated exclusively for those with common sense. It is a program which has for ultimate objective to achieve a more perfect union. We are not Democrat or Republican. We look at the topics, the issues of the day, and we look at them through the prism of the impacts in the country, the impacts in this and future generations. And we provide you with much needed information to be able to make up your mind, or at the very least to open your mind so that you can make decision which is not just partisan, but decision which will help to advance the affairs of the country and help pave the way for future generation to have a better future, or to still be able to enjoy the freedom which they enjoy in this country. And to preserve that freedom, obviously, we have to be able to perform action, to do things that are necessary for the advancement of the nation. And as such, those we elect, we should hold them accountable. And when they're not doing the job for which we elect them, we should get them out of office, not vote them because they belong to our party. It is no longer necessary to abide by a political party. Marcus Cicero, from a Roman philosopher in 63 BC, said that any man can make mistake, but only an idiot persists in his error. Yes, we may make a mistake by electing someone in office, by voting someone in office because we believe what they said they were going to do. We believe they were going to be good for us. They were going to be good for the state, for the country. But once we find out that they are not doing the job for which they were elected, we cannot persist in continuing voting them in office. Only an idiot will persist in his error. As such, I urge you today, when you go to the poll to vote, to remember that the Republican Party has been in control of both houses, and we are where we are at because they have relinquished their duty. They have not done the job for which they were elected. And as such, it is our duty, regardless of our political party, regardless of our political affiliation, it is our sacred duty as the people to vote them out of office and put someone who can do the job for which they would be elected. Once again, I thank you for spending the time. I hope that you can join me again at 6:30 p.m. this afternoon for another interesting episode of the Fourth Branch. You have a good afternoon or a good evening, whichever that happens to be. The Fourth Branch podcast is brought to you in collaboration with the People Branch publication, which can be found on the People Branch website, located at peoplebranch.org. That's peoplebranch.org. That's peoplebranch.org website, in which you will find a number of very interesting articles. My name is Mike Duchesne, MD for short. I hope you have a great afternoon or a great evening, whichever it happens to be. Hopefully you can join me again next time for another interesting episode of this podcast. That was the Fourth Branch, live from New York. Good day.